Clay, you came into this project after it had been sort of in development for a few years. What was it like to walk into something like this? And aside from the sheer amount of footage that you had to deal with right away, what was the first thing that struck you about sort of being involved in this film?
I think the thing that jumped out to me was the sort of experiential nature of the footage, and just how incredible it was, and how amazingly open and honest and vulnerable Steve and Michele were in it. And so you sort of have this experience of being able to be sort of a fly on the wall in the room with them as they're going through the journey of this disease over the last 5 years, and then you sort of layer on top of that experience their candor, and it's a very powerful experience.
And Michele, to have your day-to-day life be chronicled in this way, to add another person to that inner circle, and to have someone else come in to be a part of that, what were some things that Clay did to sort of let you know that he was the right person to help tell this story?
When he came down, he played ping pong with me, and I have a sense of people.
I won.
Whatever. I think he actually pretended to be not as good as you were in the beginning, and then came out for like the sweep.
I sandbagged it. I did.
But I think I just had a feel that I liked him, and that's all I really cared about. We had enough people that were there that were making decisions about the movie and what was going to happen. So I liked hanging out with them, and that was good for me.
When you start to sort of take all of this footage, you mentioned earlier when we were talking, it was upwards of 1,200 hours, and then you did shoot more. As you're going through and watching and trying to digest all of this, what are some markers that you use to sort of set aside, this is a moment that I would like to include later. This is something that absolutely has to be in. This is something that would be of interest if we can sort of fit it in somehow. What steps do you go through to sort of pare that down?
That's a good question, I think. I haven't heard that one yet.
He's smart. I think the sort of organizational process of sifting through that much footage is something that I've honed, and in working with Seth Gordon, our producer on this movie. I worked on King of Kong with him and sort of learned a system and then have adapted it slightly, but it's something that is like, I think the dirty little secret of documentary filmmaking is learning how to organize and quickly find your way back through the mound of footage that you usually have to find a soundbite or a moment or a scene. And so, as we were watching everything, we were sort of setting aside these moments of scenes that we liked, and then it became apparent very early on too that we were going to have to stick to the sort of chronology of the footage as well, because it was a degenerative disease, and we wanted to take the audience on that ride, and that sort of watching the physicality and the tiredness wash over everyone. And so we, that sort of boxed us in some places, and actually in the end was a help structurally to help pare things down.
Were there moments that eventually made it into the film, Michele, that you in the moment realized like this is probably something that's going to sort of be part of the final story, or was that not something you were even thinking about as things were going on?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I never thought about, really, this project started as a project for Rivers, or for our son, or for our baby. We didn't know what it was, but it started as a project almost for Steve to be able to tell stories to our unborn child. And after that, we had these two guys that came on who started filming us, and became close friends, and they helped caretake, and they helped with Rivers. And I really had no idea this project would get to be the size it is. I had no idea I'd be sitting in front of a crowd talking about it. So I never cared about what was being filmed, and never thought, oh, this might be in the movie, because I was too busy living like life. And it was weird that we were getting filmed, but it was just kind of like, oh, this is just something fun that's happening that Steve wants to do. And so I had no really idea that it would come to this. So that's kind of the cool part. That's why I think I was so open and honest, because I didn't think something big like this would happen afterwards.
Obviously, at the beginning, this was something that was sort of a more personal project. But once the decision was made that this would become something that more people would see, Michele, did you have an idea of who you wanted this film to be for outside of just the people in your family?
I had no idea, and I think that's kind of the beauty of when Clay and I started going to different film festivals and hearing from people and hearing like what people would tell me afterwards and how it was affecting them. I think the most important thing for me that I've heard is from people who are caretakers in any way, and how this has been kind of cathartic to them, and are so appreciative of how honest and real that I am. And I think that's the thing that makes me most excited, to be able to help people feel something that are going through, the caretaking role. And otherwise, anybody who enjoys it or gets something from it, I like everyone to see it by now.
I'm curious, Clay, if you had that same thought, if there was there a specific group of people that you were trying to sort of make this movie for, to sort of help them in any way?
Not particularly. I mean, I think that we talked about certainly the caretaker, and how at some point in most people's lives they're going to have to go through that or inhabit that role. But I think the more conversation that was in the forefront for us was like, people are going to see this and think that it's a football movie or it's an ALS movie. And so we wanted to try to find, as best as possible, a way to get around those, to sort of subvert that log line and the expectations of the audience, and come up with another sort of trajectory for the story and another through line that you could follow. So that really was, in a way, trying to connect to the sort of universal truths that would resonate with the audience.